Hey there viewers, and welcome to Get Well Stay Well, live and interactive as every week, joined by Felicity.
Here we are together again. Absolutely great, and it's hot, hot, hot down here in Spain. But I have found a wonderful new product, which are minerals, that I've been looking for ages, Si, because, you know, I've always realized that we can only really absorb the plant minerals. You know, we can buy these minerals in the shops that are made of chalk, basically, and they are metallic, they are rock minerals, but the body cannot absorb them because simply the molecule is too big to go into the cells. So we really are dependent on plant-derived minerals. And I was just so excited because last week I was approached by someone who has discovered these, and I have tried them, and they are just amazing. It's a plant-based one. Comes in a tube, you know, like the Redoxon vitamin C tablets. You just fizz them up in water, and they give you the most amazing amount of minerals, because normally we only get about 7 minerals in the body. Our food is only fertilized with NPK, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So we're short of all the others. We've got about 75 that we should be having that are trace minerals.
Right.
Zinc, selenium, magnesium, manganese, germanium, vanadium, you know, all these names that we've heard of. But anyway, God did create us to have all these minerals in our bodies.
Yes.
And so I do truly believe that the epidemic of disease with the heart disease, cancer, diabetes, autoimmune disease is caused because we are now deficient. You know, the soil has become so deficient now. So anyway, I was told about this product and tried it and thought it was absolutely fabulous. So I'm really, really excited about that, because I used to think we didn't need to supplement. You know,
Yeah,
I
was going to ask, what are your thoughts on obviously supplementation?
Yeah, I thought if we really had the organic fruits and vegetables that we would be fine.
Yes.
And I think we are for a little bit, but as we get older particularly, and if we're living in a very soil deficient place, everybody needs these. So children are on them. I'm putting the grandchildren on them. And certainly my children, who both work very long hours and are very, they get very tired. My son's a lawyer, my daughter is a librarian, and they get exhausted. And, you know, we're all really short of these wonderful minerals. And the other thing is that unless you have minerals in your body, you can't absorb vitamins. A lot of people don't realize that. So they're taking vitamin C or something, but it's not actually going into the body. So it's been really exciting, and I've had an amazing weekend contacting people and put it on Facebook. And it's just amazing how the word goes around.
And what has the feedback been since?
The feedback's been amazing. And they're called Heaven's Minerals.
Wow.
What a lovely name,
Excellent.
Heaven's Minerals. Because, you know, God created us from the dust of the ground, which is the minerals.
Yeah.
And so it all fits in with the Genesis 1:29 and 30. It's great, and I'm really excited.
Well, talking about heaven, viewers, we've got a clip. You may have seen this previously on our mornings, but it's so good we want to show it again. This is a 5-year-old little girl with such an incredible talent, and her name is Heavenly Joy. She really does have Jesus inside her, as she says in the clip. Let's take a look at this.
Now, you know, if you win this whole thing, you get $1 million.
Well, if I get $1 million, I want them to keep them. I want to get them all over the world, because some people don't have any clothes, so I'll give some clothes to them.
Aww. Beautiful.
He's raising her right.
By the way, I'm your favorite judge, aren't I? Yes, okay. Very smart. All right, I wish you a lot of luck. I hope you win so all those people who don't have money get money, you know? You're going places, I'm telling you. Wow. You know, when I was a little boy, not much older than you, if you can imagine that, Heavenly, I used to watch Shirley Temple in movies on TV.
I watched that.
You watched that too?
Yep.
You know, I think Shirley Temple is living somewhere inside of you. Is that possible? Because...
Well, not Shirley Temple, Jesus.
There you go. Now you talk.
Hi viewers, welcome back. There's so many things that we could talk about that particular clip. It's the way that we bring up our children, isn't it? And having that inside, and having Jesus inside. And when we also talk about looking after ourselves, are we talking about eating well, eating a healthy diet? It's our children we need to be teaching that as well, isn't it?
That's right. And isn't she full of joy and exuberance and fun, you know?
God really does give us, each of us, an individual talent, doesn't he?
Absolutely. And she's got loads of it. And I think her mother and father are both in show business, aren't they? Her mother's Joy, and they're both well known. And obviously she's just filled with this amazing gift. And I think the next program we're going to do, we've got a program, a little clip of them in the morning with all the children on the bed, and it's great fun. So looking forward to that one as well.
But it just brings us back. Just want to briefly talk about the values, because one of the judges there mentioned, you're going to win $1 million. What are you going to do with that? And immediately came out of her saying, I want to help the poor people. I want to make sure that they're clothed. I mean, at such a young age to have those kind of thoughts and those kind of values at 5 years old is incredible.
That's right. That's why it's so lovely to have those, you know, the children's Bibles that you can start them on very, very young. And my little granddaughter, that is her favorite book. And of course, she's got lots of other books to read as well. But when it comes to bedtime, she says, Granny, I want a Bible story.
Yeah.
And so we've got lovely pictures. I've got a gorgeous little children's Bible, you know, with really super colored pictures. And it's such fun. And these stories just resonate with her as being so special and so true. And then they say their prayers before they go to bed at night. It's really a great start in life, isn't it?
Just talking about our health now, we always talk about looking after our diets and the foods that we're eating, but we also need to be looking after our physical, our mental side of things as well, isn't it? And we can also do that by listening to worship music and listening to music with God and inspirational words. That is also so important, isn't it?
It's very important. And, you know, this is why people have Revelation TV on in their houses. When I'm on the phones, as I was at the weekend, and, you know, on Wednesday night, it's such a joy to talk to the viewers. And, you know, so many of them say, I just have Revelation on all day, because I like to hear it just going along in the background, and then I come and sit down when there's something particularly interesting, like Get Well, Stay Well with Cyrus and Felicity. Of course, they're always very diplomatic. But it is fun. It is fun. And to hear so many people are getting well and staying well, and they're juicing, and they're getting the colonics, they're getting themselves going. They're really getting into the way of life. They're doing the skin brushing. It's really great, and so it makes it all worthwhile doing what we're doing. And
it's important, Felicity, to keep the positivity in your life, and we try and always give out a positive message on Revelation TV. We're educating, but also giving inspirational and positive messages out there, because if we have the news on all day, you can honestly get depressed, can't you? Because it's just bad news. Everything is bad news, isn't it?
That's for sure. But we have read the end of the book. We've read Revelation. And so that we know that in the end, it's going to be, everything's going to be all right, as my mother used to say, everything's going to be all right. And that was really very reassuring. And that's exactly what God says at the end of the Bible. You know, we have 3 gardens. We start in a garden, creation, Genesis. Then we have the Garden of Gethsemane, which is just devastating and pain. And then in the end, we go back to the garden in Revelation with the trees for the healing of the nations, and the leaves. And I do believe that there is a vegetable and a herb and a plant and maybe a flower for every kind of healing. And what I've learnt, you know, having trained originally as an Orthodox nurse, and then getting into natural medicine halfway through my life, I have learnt that there really are the most wonderful herbs and all the other plants that we need. I think God's put everything on earth for us. But when the pharmaceutical companies counterfeit them and they make them synthetically, of course, they never work as well. You need to get back to the real thing. And it's really great that there are so many doctors on that now. And so I love to go to America for that wonderful conference and meet, 70 of the top doctors in the world who are now teaching this stuff. So that fires our shows.
Just want to remind our viewers we're live, we're interactive, we're taking your emails and your text messages. Just going to read out some emails, Felicity, if I can. Hi, Si and Felicity. If sugar causes cancer, why do cancer charities sell high sugar cupcakes in hospitals, homes and churches to raise funds?
Well, I'm absolutely shocked about that, and I have written to those charities and explained that we all now know that sugar causes cancer. You can turn cancer on and off with sugar. The PET scans that they do use sugar to track the cancer. So for anyone not to realize that is abysmal. In fact, it's criminal. So, yeah, I quite agree with you, and do write and complain, as I have done, and try to educate people, because the big names out there in cancer research and cancer care, they're very often funded by the pharmaceutical companies, and they just don't seem to get the message. Yes, I mean, I've been invited to coffee mornings. Coffee mornings. Coffee is such a carcinogen in the body. Coffee mornings with cream cupcakes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe that there is such ignorance still.
Thank you so much for your programme, Felicity. Could you please tell me, what do you think if I was to do a lime juice day fast? Does it do much good?
Well, it depends on the lime juice. If it's fresh lime squeezed into water, that would be a lovely day, yes. I think that would be great. And I did a day like that last week. I had nothing but, in fact, I did it with mint out of my garden, and I just had hot water with mint in it, and I just drank that. And I did 2 of the ionic foot baths as well. I had a most amazing detox day, and I felt amazing. And it's funny, although I'm on the pure diet and the organic stuff, I still have masses of toxins. And of course, it's from the stresses, it's from coming down here, being on TV in the studio with all the electromagnetic radiation and all these other stresses going on that cause stress in the body. So the water starts off I'd love to do this on TV one day,
yeah.
My feet in the water. And we'll see the water change
wow.
to absolute black
wow.
in an hour. So
yeah.
it'll be quite an interesting program.
Now we're going to moving on shortly to an interview that you did with Francisco Contreras. Earlier on this year, you went to the US and visited the Oasis of Hope. Just tell us a little bit about that, please.
Well, it was a wonderful time, and of course he got me well. In 2003, I wasn't well enough to go there, but he actually directed my treatment with my doctor, a young woman doctor in Jersey, and told her exactly how to give the infusions of the B17, about the pancreatic enzymes, about the colonics, and I followed it all at home, which is my passion, to try and spread the word that people can get themselves well and stay well at home.
Okay, well, let's take a look at this. This is an interview that Felicity did with Dr. Francisco Contreras, and he's talking how important it is for patients to be in the right environment and also to feel the peace. Let's take a look at this.
We've been able to, well, help people from all around the world, but of course here in our community, we have been able to do many acts of charity that benefit our people.
And the aftercare really impresses me, that Mario, I think it is, who follows up with phone calls to support patients when they get home.
Yes, it is one of the most important aspects of our therapy, because patients live in tremendous fear. And when they get to an environment like this, which is very different from any hospital that they've ever been to, they spend about 3 weeks with us, and when they're ready to go home, they become very stressed. And now they're going to their houses, and they feel very, very distressed that they're not going to be able to follow the things that were very easy for them to follow here, like the diet or they have a doctor, they have friends, they have people to communicate with. And so we win them off so that they can go home in a better way, in knowing that they have a constant contact with us. They're only a phone call away with people that are very knowledgeable, that can answer all of their questions and can help them, continue in the right path of all of the changes that they have to do. Because the lifestyle change is very dramatic, as you experienced it. Important, so that we can hold their hands, so to say, even if they're very, very far away, as you were, from England to Mexico. So to us, that is very, very important. And I think it's a key factor in the reason for our success.
I know you work with the alkaline acid balance.
Although you cannot truly alkalinize a body because our pH is very, very stable, consuming alkaline foods is at a benefit to us. If you think in terms of a bank, whenever you consume alkaline foods, it's like putting money into your metabolic bank. Whenever you consume acidic foods, and all processed foods are acidic, and they make them acidic because bugs don't like acids, and so it gives shelf life to a product. But when you consume acidic foods, it's taking money out of the bank. It's at a disadvantage to you. So we teach all of these things to our patients so that they understand that consuming alkaline foods and most foods that God puts forth for us are alkaline. And that's the reason, because they're at a benefit to us. Oxygenation is also very important. We live in a very contaminated world, and because we do not move sufficiently, we don't exercise sufficiently, we do not, mobilize oxygen, and we don't oxygenate our system as we should. So we teach our patients to either exercise or breathing exercises, because there's many patients that they're so ill they can't exercise. So breathing exercises are very, very important. And while on therapy, we use means of increasing oxygen for our therapies to work better. So ozone therapy.
Hey there, viewers, and welcome back. Just some interesting items there, Felicity, that Francisco mentioned, and it's the fundamental thing is, number one is when a patient is diagnosed with such a serious disease such as cancer, it's how you mentally deal with that situation, and quite often it's dealt with fear, isn't it?
Absolutely, but the great thing about the Christian Cancer Hospital in Mexico is that they really do take the fear out of the situation, and when you know you have Jesus in your life anyway, that is, of course, makes a huge difference. But also they support the patients. You have to have a fortitude to get through this. You have to change the mindset. And of course, they're doing this all the time, so it's wonderful. And this guy, Mario, who you saw very briefly on there, Mario is a lovely chap and a wonderful guy to be on the phone to for a little bit of comfort and a little pep talk when you need it. Because when you come home from an environment like that, it's quite a shock to the system, because you've been looked after, you've had everything done for you, you've had the juices produced, you've had all the treatments done for you, and suddenly you're at home alone, and it's scary, and especially you've got the long journey.
I mean, you're talking from experience yourself, haven't you? You've been through it.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Although I actually got well at home with the direction of Oasis. And it was only 5 years later when I went out to thank them and find out more about it so that I could write the book and spread the word.
So that is also another alternative, is it? That the people can have a consultation and have the right guidelines in order to improve or obviously heal their diseases that they may have. They don't necessarily need to be travelling over to the US to do so.
Well, what I'm hoping very much, and we've all got to pray about this, is that we could get something, an Oasis in Europe. And Dr. Francisco Contreras is coming to my day on the 25th of July in London at the Royal Society of Medicine. And I've got a private Get Well, Stay Well day there. and he's going to speak, and his daughter is also flying over to speak. So there is every possibility that we might be able to get him to start something here in Europe, because, you know, it's only a 2.5-hour flight from most European centres to come down here to Marbella.
Yes.
We've got nice weather
Yeah.
right through the year. So it's the most wonderful opportunity. And there are some hospitals here that are private hospitals where royalty have been, really smart, very nice hospitals, where people could actually come and learn all this natural stuff. I've got lots of people interested in doing this through my contacts, going to the Cure to Cancer conference. You know, Ty Bollinger is interested. Various people around the world now feel that it's time that we got things maybe in Europe as well as America, because it is a long way to fly. And I certainly was too ill to fly there in 2003. I was in a terrible state on morphine in excruciating pain and vomiting every 5 minutes. I mean, there was no way that I was fit to get on a plane. And so I did do it all at home, and it was entirely through God, because I was told about this at my church at Holy Trinity Brompton, which you and your wife go to, and told about it by Emmy Wilson, who'd also been a nurse, and it all made total sense to me. But I had never heard anything like that before from the doctors. The doctors had given me no hope. So it was amazing how I got that set up. And the doctors, my own doctors in Jersey, wouldn't touch the B17. Most Orthodox doctors won't, because they've been told either it doesn't work or it'll kill the patient, it's too strong. And in fact, it is the apricot kernel, which is God's humble little apricot seed, which has this amazing hydrocyanuric acid in it, which will get people well.
Now, when we talk about the environment, the importance of being in the right surroundings, because it's all part of keeping our mind positive as well, isn't it? That we're and like when we look at the Oasis of Hope, where that's located, it's in a very peaceful surrounding. You see water, you see lakes, you see a lot of trees, and it's so important to be in the right environment, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, Hippocrates is very beautiful in lakes and trees. The Oasis of Hope is actually in Tijuana in Mexico. So it's a bustling town, actually, but there is the beach. There is the beach a little road away. Dr. Patrick Vickers' place is right on the water, as you've seen in the clips we've done there. But basically, I think even more important is to be with people who help you to take control of your disease yourself. And you, in fact, you don't even call it your disease, it's a disease that you are going to get rid of. And what I do with my weeks, really, very simple week, is to just give people the tools to heal themselves.
Yes. It's like you say, it's when they go home, they feel that's the most important part. It's great going to doing a week course with yourself, for example, or going to the Oasis of Hope for several weeks. But it's when you're home, that's when it matters, isn't it, to keep it up?
Yes, you see, it's a maintenance, because you can't just come home and go back to what was killing you before. You come back to the sugar foods and the biscuits and the cakes and the pastas and the empty foods, the mad diet, the meat and dairy diet. If we come back to that, of course the cancer will come back. So we have to really take control, change our lives completely, get educated about it, and that's the wonderful thing that he does, as well as giving people a great spiritual backup as well, because you know, we're all only here a short time on this earth, in our earth years. Somebody said to me the other day, how many earth years are you? And I said, well, 74, but nearly 75, I suppose, if you think of the 9 months before when you were on the way.
Yeah.
So, and I'm on no medication. I mean, it's absolutely amazing.
Incredible.
But I do try to live absolutely on Gerson, juices, vegetables. I have cooked food as well, but I do try to keep off the meat and the dairy.
Okay.
And, the processed foods.
Well, let's take a look at this next item. This is called Food That Kills Us. Now, you may have seen in the news today about the fizzy drinks, the amount of sugars and ingredients that are in fizzy drinks. But more importantly, what about all the other foods that we might be used to and not even realising how dangerous they are? Let's take a look at this. Food That Kills Us.
My friends, the information that you are about to witness from all of my years of research is the most important. It's been hidden in plain view the entire time. This is the ultimate secret, and it's about to be exposed. You see here before you what an average person would buy when they went shopping at the store. Not everything here is bad for you, but much of it has compounds and artificial chemicals that have been added that are extremely toxic and bad for your health. And they have known this the entire time, and they have approved them for use. Let's start with aspartame. You cannot go to the grocery store now and buy any type of even regular sugar gum that hasn't had aspartame added to it. In the 1970s, Searle tried to get it approved, and they couldn't. It took them 3 separate times because in their own studies with monkeys, large portions of them that were fed it died and contracted cancer. Now we have mainstream news articles, and the EU has done a major study finding lower birth weights, early birth, and yes, miscarriages from women that drink aspartame-laden soft drinks like Coke Zero. What is aspartame? It is the fecal matter of the E. coli bacteria. They took it and genetically engineered it. They can feed it toxic waste, and then it defecates aspartame. And it has so many bad health effects, it's just unspeakable. This is being done by design. It's also very, very addictive. But let's just go ahead and move away from aspartame and talk about McDonald's and chicken McNuggets. Now, I remember a decade ago or so reading health advisories claiming that a form of plastic that's used in silly putty, basically a type of silicone, was in the chicken McNuggets, but also in many other TV dinners and other foods. It is illegal in every other nation in the world to add these chemicals to the food, but it's not in the United States. The big secret is all of this was done by design by the FDA. Look at all the drugs they've approved, and then it comes out later that they knowingly approve them when these drugs are causing heart attacks.
Hi there, welcome back. Some interesting information there, Felicity. First of all, let's just cover aspartame, the dangers of aspartame.
Well, aspartame, as he says, is absolutely dreadful stuff. But that is what's put in diet food. When you see diet Coke and you see diet drinks, all kinds of diet things, it's not real sugar, but it's fake sugar. And he's just explained what it's made from, so it's absolutely gross. But the thing is that people don't read the labels, and if they do read the labels, they don't know what they mean. It's a matter of education. And we have to really educate people. It's all there on the internet, if only they'll have a look and see.
Let's take a look at aspartame. It causes us brain diseases. Yeah. Explain the process of how can that go and affect our brains?
Well, it can cross the blood-brain barrier, and it does affect the way the brain works. And you know, most people are suffering from stress, they're suffering from insomnia, they're suffering from all kinds of autoimmune diseases. And this all comes from the wrong foods that we've been putting into the body and the drinks, because very often, you know, it's the sugary drinks that people have been having, and especially the girls who want to lose weight will live on a caffeine drink.
But more importantly, Felicity, it's known to give miscarriages to pregnant women as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are the main foods that contain aspartame?
Well, it's all the processed foods. You know, you're not going to get aspartame in onions and carrots and lettuces and the good foods that God's produced for us. This is why I keep saying, you know, I go to the farmer's market, I don't go to a supermarket if I can help it. And so I keep away from all the biscuits and the cakes and the pastas and the processed foods that, you know, that is the sort of easy food that people go for, the junk food. You know, you sit in the office and pass around the biscuits or the chocolates or something. And
it's called fast foods for a reason, because we eat it fast. It's so fast we don't even think and realise what we're doing or eating, really. And it takes me on to chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets is something very, very popular with all our children. That's what they eat. And to hear that it contains plastic and silicone and things like that, it's shocking.
I'm just appalled, because at every hotel that you go into, or nearly every hotel, I would say, there will be chicken nuggets and fish fingers as the option for children. Are they trying to kill the next generation? You know, we really, people like Alex Jones, who made that wonderful report on InfoWars, and I do encourage people to watch him, he really comes out with it and says that this is being done deliberately to dumb the population down, and they have absolutely no regard for the health of our children and our grandchildren.
Surely it's time for the government to take responsibility and for the government to be looking after us, because we need to confide and trust in somebody. But when you're listening to items there on that clip that just mentioned that some of the drugs that are used to cure certain diseases, they're actually causing heart problems, they're causing cancer, they're causing even worse diseases for us. Who do we trust?
Well, that's it. You would think that the government would have ministers there who actually test this stuff. But the testing is done by the food companies. They are their own regulators. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
In America, it's even worse than it is in Europe. But Europe's pretty bad as well, where it's illegal to say that water will rehydrate you, for instance, as Howard has mentioned on some of his shows. So it's madness, but of course we are ruled by...
it's all about the money, really, isn't it? It's
we're
a
ruled by...
multi-billion-dollar industry.
Exactly. We're ruled by the bankers who control the governments, who control the media, and that's why it's so important to keep Revelation TV going, because we do come out and tell the truth, thanks to the courage of Howard and Leslie and Gordon and Lorna. So I do thank God for Revelation TV, and it is such an important channel to keep on air for the truth to come out.
Okay, just going through some of your emails. Thank you so much indeed for sending us your questions. This one's from Virginia. Hi, Felicity and Si. Thank you for educating us. How can I add oxygen to my water?
Well, oxygen is really important for us, and I oxygenate the water with that SOTA machine, SOTA, state-of-the-art. It's an ozonator, so you can actually bubble the oxygen into the water, and when you drink it within 5 minutes, Virginia, you will get that into your bloodstream very quickly. You can take oxygen drops. There's also a wonderful new product coming out, which Amando here in the studio is developing with some people in America, and it is going to be the most wonderful oxygen drink. I've had hard trials on it, and I know that it's an absolutely brilliant product. So as soon as it starts coming to the market, we'll tell you about it, and you'll be able to get it. But I'm drinking it, and it's a delicious sort of berry-type drink, and does oxygenate the body. It also has niacin. You know, I talk about niacin being the antidepressant. So it's a really good drink to have, loaded with the vitamin B minerals as well. So really, really exciting product.
Hi, Felicity. If I take propolis tablets, do I have all the vitamins and minerals that I need apart from vitamin K and sulfur?
Well, no, I think you need to have basically a very good mineral, as I've been talking about heaven's minerals. You need to have some vitamins. You need to have the diet as well. Propolis is an extremely good thing to take as a supplement, but you can't just do one thing and expect that to look after everything. You know, you have to be drinking loads of water. You have to be cleansing with the colonics. You have to be exercising. Health is a matter of new start, you know, that old mnemonic that I bring out, N-E-W-S-T-A-R-T, nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest and research, and trust in God. So really it's putting the whole thing together.
Okay, this one's from Linda saying we're new to your program, so welcome, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda. Felicity, could you please tell us what are alkaline foods?
Well, the alkaline foods are basically the vegetables, and we need to really get back onto that. to get back to the homeostasis of pH 7.365, you know, as Francisco was saying, you don't want to alkalize your body too much. You want to achieve this perfect balance of 7.365, or as near to that as you can get. So the best ones are the green juice that I've made for Si and me today. So this has got cucumber, it's got a little bit of broccoli, it's got apples, it's got herbs from my garden, and some lemon. And a little bit of fresh squeezed lemon in there is a wonderful alkalizer. So that is your best alkalizing drink. We always start our morning with the green juices, because that's the very best start. And of course, the juice in itself will rehydrate the body. And then if you want a hot drink, say in the winter, I would have hot water, honey, lemon, and ginger. Again, that little bit of lemon with the water will alkalize the water. You know, we think of lemon as being an acid, and it is if you bite into a lemon. But to have a little squeeze in the water makes an alkaline drink in the body once it reacts chemically in the body.
Pamela's written into us saying, both of you looking wonderful. So thrilled to hear what you have to say about regarding minerals. Felicity, I too am taking them and feel wonderful. In 2 months of drinking them, I've noticed that my fingernails have become so much more stronger after suffering from such brittle nails all my life.
Oh, well done, Pamela. That's marvellous, and I'm so glad that we're all in touch. That's absolutely great. And looking forward to Emma coming and speaking at the Royal Society of Medicine, because Emma is going to come and speak about the minerals. And so it's becoming a big revelation family here. It's really exciting. Getting people well so they stay well.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I want to move on to something called fake food, Felicity.
Yeah.
Something that we obviously need to be aware of, because sometimes it's the trust, and who do we trust, who do we not trust? And when you go to a restaurant, for example, and you order some food, how do you know you've actually got the food that you've ordered?
Well, you know, it's really interesting, because they talk about this green light coming off meat, and bacon in particular. And, you know, I haven't had bacon in my house for many years now, but I do remember when I was making eggs and bacon for my family, which I did every morning, killing my family as best I could, I suppose. Eggs and bacon every morning, and sausages and everything else to go with it. Washed down with a nice glass of milk, probably. You know, it was really awful. I had no idea about this stuff when I was bringing up my family. But
just for some, sorry, can I just stop you there? For some of our new viewers, we're talking about milk, the dangers of dairy. Just explain, and just maybe to our new viewer like Linda, who's just tuned in, why should we be avoiding dairy and milk? Because
you can turn cancer on and off with dairy. And I'll say that again, you can turn cancer on and off with dairy, with milk. And I was so shocked, because having lost my own daughter to cancer at 20, and then I trained in all this stuff and went to America and learned from Dr. Brian Clement at Hippocrates Health Institute. And he came out with this remark, and I couldn't believe it, because I was always brought up that milk made you strong, gave you healthy bones, it was good for your teeth and all this stuff. And being a Jersey woman coming from the little island of Jersey where we have the Jersey cow, I thought I'm never going to be able to persuade them. So I actually got Brian to fly over to Jersey, and he did a talk, and we had a huge number of people come in. One of the biggest hotels in Jersey is run by a lovely man whose wife had just died of cancer, and of course he gave me the ballroom to have the meeting. And Dr. Brian Clement came and broke the news to Jersey. It wasn't taking it from me, but they did take it then from Brian. And more and more people are moving on to the good healthy milks, like the nut milks, the almond milk, and you know, the oat milk as well is quite nice. My grandchildren like the oat milk. But you can make these nut milks as well. We've done some on the programs. And it's a much nicer milk. You avoid all the fat. You avoid the antibiotics, the viruses, the bacteria from the cows. And we all know that the cows are now kept in pretty awful conditions. Okay. You know, in Jersey, you'll still see them roaming around in the green fields, and it all looks so idyllic. But it's not always like that, and we know that the farming practices are very, very cruel.
Okay, well, let's move on now. This is an item, it's called fake foods. It's just something for you to be aware of. Let's take a look at this.
Famous ones in China right now is the fake egg scandal.
This is one of the more recent ones, and you're just starting to wonder what's next. So what happened with these eggs is basically they're not eggs. They look like eggs and they feel like eggs, but they're completely artificial.
Right.
So the eggs, the shells, the yolk, like everything is made from chemicals and, you know, basically non-edible things.
Which begs the question, is that really cost effective to actually make the whole egg on its own rather than just getting it from a real chicken?
And at one point you're thinking, right, these fake foods and these toxic foods are made because, you know, the manufacturers want to save on price and they want to make a bigger profit margin. But really, making a whole egg out of scratch, that's got to take some work.
And it's the whole egg. The shells are made from, I think they say, wax. Even the yolk is lemon or food coloring.
Yeah.
And the white part is made some other mix of chemicals and ingredients. It's acid even. So it's just bizarre that you can actually create a whole egg just from chemicals and random, wax and some food coloring. So the one that struck me is this. There was a woman who bought some pork and she cooked it for her family, and then she left the leftovers on her counter at night. When she actually went to grab something or use the restroom, she actually saw a faint blue glow coming from her kitchen, and she saw it was actually the pork that she put there. It was emitting this blue light.
That sounds like a beginning of a sci-fi film or something.
Supposedly, it's because the pork is contaminated by phosphorescent bacteria, and that's why it's glowing. But imagine, she already ate, her family already ate some of the pork, and she left it there. Now it's glowing.
Yeah, it's terrifying, actually.
Yeah.
Ooh, disgusting. So on the topic of meat, a lot of meat producers in China have been selling fake beef that's actually made from rats and
foxes, minks.
Yeah, so things that we probably wouldn't want to eat on a daily basis, but they have used those animals to produce fake beef and sell it to people.
Right, and it's not just the beef as well. There's also cases of people using chicken that has died to make the roasted chicken. There were cases where I think some stores were disguising a chicken into a goose.
Oh, that's common day practice.
And all sorts of weird manipulation of meat to make it more expensive.
Absolutely. I mean, if you bought a geese and it was chicken, the worst thing is like, oh, I got gypped. But really, if you bought beef and it turned out to be rat, how would you...
Hi there, welcome back, viewers. Felicity, how can we obviously protect? There's just such incredible items there mentioned on that clip. How do we protect ourselves? How do we know? Once again, do we have to have our own farms and grow our own fruits and vegetables?
I think it looks that way, Cyrus. I really do. Yes, I think so, because it's just horrific.
Obviously, that clip was to the extreme. That was to the extreme, yes. And that was very minor cases where that obviously happens, but. That can happen, couldn't it?
Well, it's if you're going to eat meat of any kind, who knows if it's horse or whatever else that they've used. We don't really know, do we? So you see, God didn't tell us that at the beginning. God told us to eat in Genesis 1:29 and 30, the herbs, the vegetables, the seeds, the nuts, and the green plant. He didn't say go and kill the animals. He said have dominion over the animals, but he didn't say to kill them. And it was only in Genesis 9:3, after the flood, when sin had come into the world and we had suffered the consequences, that then God says, now you can eat anything, but there are consequences, and we know what the consequences are. So certainly I don't want to eat meat of any kind anymore. Fish also has quite a question mark over it, because the fish is now so polluted. It's not the beautiful fish that was in the Sea of Galilee when Jesus was on earth. We now know that the seas are very polluted from the PCBs, the plastics, and also, of course, the industrial effluent that flows off the rivers and comes into the sea. So I very, very rarely eat the fish now, just occasionally.
Betty sent us an email saying, "Hi, I am 90 years old.
Oh, well done, Betty.
And I'm trying to improve my diet. I have bought a juicer, but I would very much like to get hold of Felicity's recipe book, but don't know how to go about it. The only medication I am on is thyroxine, but I do have a bit of arthritis."
Well, I think you're doing very well, and love to send you my book. It is unfortunately only on, it's only an e-book because I haven't had them printed out, but I'm sure somebody can print that off for you.
And what is your website? Just remind our viewers.
It's just felicitycorbinwheeler.org, and everything is there. There's lots of courses, there's lots of, I'm coming to London to speak, I'm coming to Ireland to speak on the 22nd of August. I'm looking forward to that. And we'll try and get round to some more places as well. So, but basically, Cyrus and I are here on a Monday, and we love to get your messages and hear from you. Okay.
Excellent. I think Barbara sent us an email. I think she might be also another new viewer for us, Felicity.
Right.
Watching your programme with great interest. What are your thoughts on soya milk? There seems to be some controversy around that at the moment.
Well, soya was thought to be a wonderful thing, and then it got genetically modified. So it's a bit like the agave syrup, you know, as well. We were all really keen on that to start, and then, of course, the big business gets into these things and they start genetically modifying these foods, and then they're not as good for us as they used to be. So again, we go back to the onions and the garlic and the carrots, you know, because they are still, thank God, looking like what they're supposed to look like and tasting pretty well what they're meant. You know, we're lucky here in Spain. As I always say, I go to the farmers markets, I do my shopping there. I don't shop in the supermarkets if I can help it. So I know the farmers, I've been to the farms, and in Jersey also I go to an organic farmer there who grows the wheatgrass and grows beautiful, beautiful crops. And so that's what I try to live on and get my grandchildren onto.
Well, we've talked about the foods that we need to be avoiding, but also we need to talk about the foods that we should be eating. So let's take a look at this. This is a healthy green juice.
Chris from chriscard.com, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a healthy green smoothie. Now, you might be wondering about the difference between juicing and blending and whether one is better than the other. Here's the truth. Ready? Lean in. They are both fantastic. They're wonderful ways to drink your produce. I love making smoothies, and one of the things that I like to do is I like to add superfoods. I like to add protein powder, especially vegan protein powder, things like cacao, healthy fats like flax oil, almond butter. I'll add some almond milk, and all of these goodies help me stay fuller longer. This is a simple recipe. It's a variation of my Green Goddess smoothie and Crazy Sexy Juices and Succulent Smoothie e-guide. I'm going to use some frozen banana, frozen blueberry, cucumber, I always use my cucumber, kale, some avocado as my healthy fat, and I'm going to blend it up with some coconut water. So I like to freeze my bananas because it definitely makes the smoothie a little creamier. And the same is true with the blueberries. Blueberries are so full of antioxidants. Next, I'm going to cut up my cucumber. You're going to want to peel it if it's not organic, because this will help to cut down on your pesticide exposure. Throw that right in there. Now I'm going to add my avocado. I love avocado. Avocados are like nature's butter. My grandmother used to use avocados all the time. I feel like an avocado a day probably keeps the doctor away. So I'm going to use a whole avocado. You certainly don't have to if you don't want to. And if you don't know how to pit it, you just saw what I did. You just hack at it and you turn it and you pull it out. The reason why I'm going to use the whole avocado is because I'm going to be sharing this with my husband. So give us plenty of good fats. And I like to scrape out every last bit of avocado. There we go. And then I'm going to also add some kale. You know I love my leafies. And last but not least, we're gonna use our coconut water. So I'm just gonna put about half of it in, right there, and I can always add more if I need it. Coconut water is a great source of electrolytes. It's like nature's Gatorade. Also, you wanna make sure you use a young Thai coconut and not the little furry brown kind, because those are really bitter. I opened this up earlier. I used a meat cleaver. It's the only thing I use a meat cleaver for. So I used a meat cleaver, and you just carefully hack it. You want to make sure that you don't hack off your fingers. Hack a nice little rectangle here, like this. And then it's easy for you to pour the coconut water out into, your measuring cup. You can also open it all the way and you can scoop out the meat. The meat is a great healthy fat. All right, so let's blend, baby, blend.
Hi viewers and welcome back. I just received a text message from Celine, so big hi to Celine, lots of love. I'm just going through some of the text messages and emails, Felicity, if I can. This one's from Ella. How do I eat well on a limited budget? My husband had Parkinson's disease and I am his carer and we're not able to work.
Well, I can live honestly from the farmers' markets on 20 euros a week. So quite honestly, it's the cheapest way to live. Absolutely. If you want a fillet, you can have some potatoes, baked potatoes. Again, they're cheap. Potatoes, onions, carrots, cucumbers, all the green things, the kale, and basically you can live on that. And of course, you can grow your own wheatgrass, you can grow your own vegetables, and that is the cheapest way. Believe me, I've done it.
This one's about aspartame. My site was saved by a letter from the World Health Organization in 1998 stating that aspartame caused blindness and MS. My retina was being eaten into the optician confirmed this as I was losing my sight. I had not ingested any for 4 months prior to this because of the warning letter. Thank you for your wonderful program and love from Marlene. Could you please tell me that the minerals taken in the natural way that you were speaking about earlier?
Well done, Marlene. I'm so glad that you had that letter and you saved your sight, and you think how many people are drinking those drinks with the aspartame and losing their sight. It's really dreadful. The minerals are called heavensminerals.com, and that takes you straight into the website. You can't buy these things anywhere. They're sold on a members-only basis, and I think they're wonderful, so I went straight into it as a distributor. I don't distribute anything myself, but I've actually gone in so that I can tell other people about it.
Okay. Yeah. Katie's written in to say, is it possible to have organic unpasteurized milk as we can get it? It does have probiotics, not banned in the UK yet. Well, the nut milks are much healthier, so I would say don't struggle with other kinds, because you've got the fat and you've got the growth hormones from the animal, and you're much better on the nut milks. Truly, believe me. Jill is asking, where can I buy Ionic foot bath from? The Ionic foot baths, well, you can get them on Amazon, and I've had mine for a long time when they were very expensive, but they have lasted very well. I think the new ones probably come from China, so I don't know how long they will last, but certainly a wonderful way of detoxing the body. And I will try and do it on a show. Si won't do it, I know, but I'll do it. I'll be brave. And I'll put my feet in that water, and you can watch it turn black, and everyone can have a good laugh. But think how much better I'll be feeling. All those toxins. And our viewers will be feeling funny as well, because we'll be laughing at the same time. So that'll be good fun. That's right. It'll be a good program. All right, Felicity, thank you as always for joining us and giving us so much information. Thanks. And also remember to roll on these. You know, you put these behind the back and roll up and down, and it straightens the back out. It's excellent. Good. Thank you, Felicity, and also thank you so much to our viewers. By going through all your emails today, I can see that we've got so many new viewers. I just want to remind you that we've got a catch-up service on our website. It's on revelationtv.com. As always, viewers, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you same time next week on Revelation TV. Take care, God bless, and always keep smiling. Bye.